Well, I thought this was a 4-book series. I was wrong. It's a 5-book series. I was expecting an ending or a explanation for what was happening, and I didn't get it. The book kind of just ended, and I go to the next page, and it says coming attractions for book 5 and the conclusion of the series. I'm like, oh, that explains it. What? 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 Sorry. My computer's being held together by a binder clip. And I also want to remind you to please check out my Flashback Monday episodes where we talk about all the books in this magazine. You can't get this magazine anywhere. I looked. Nowhere does this exist anymore. And this one, my next one coming up, 273 reviews. I've been doing these. I have these from 2007 through 2016. I'm trying to get 17 and 18. 17 and 18 were only digitally because I had those or had seen those, but we're working on it. But anyways, if anybody has older ones prior to 2007, please free to let me know. But anyway, back to our thing. Oh, it's nice to meet you. I'm Christina, Kostina. This is where we read books and talk about books. No special effects going on here. What you see is what you get. Poor lighting, poor audio, poor everything. But I hope you will support me. I hope you will like and subscribe. I've done close to 900 videos, or actually probably closer to 1,000 at this point. Nobody is watching anything. I've done a couple of about 20 or 30 of the romantic time book review ones. And well, I see this. I'm in the 3rd year, so maybe more than that. And I do them each Monday, so check out Flashback Monday is the key word there. Check those out. But anyways, I found this book the other day, and I discovered it was a short series, and I usually don't read short series, but I decided to check this one out because it involved time travel. And, I was looking for time travel a couple weeks ago and couldn't find it. It always happens when you stop looking for something, you find it. So I stumbled upon the skin map by Stephen Lawhead. And my only complaint with this is book 1, and this is book 2 and 3. Please check out my videos for those. My biggest complaint for this whole series is that there's no time frame, there's no time or location given for each chapter. And I think that would have made it easier for me to follow. You may not need that information, but it would have been easier for me to follow the timeline. However, the author does not go in a straight line. Things did not happen in a sequential order. Some happened here. They were like going this way. Other people went back here and did stuff here and then back here. And then some people went way back there and then up here. And they were going back and forth and going back and forth and going back and forth. And in the last book, this book had events. Now this is book 3. And it clearly came out in one of the chapters, they discussed it, that the events in here hadn't happened yet. This is book 2. This is book 3. In this book, they discussed the fact that these events haven't happened yet. Because MINA did stuff here. And this is starts how she's supposed to proceed in that one. So it's a little confusing. Um, and we've got new people, and they just showed up here. We don't know why they showed up here yet, but all of a sudden we have a brand new character, and we're not given any reason. She just walks on stage. And I have this author that says that if it happens on the page, it's on stage. If it happens, if you're told about it, hey Joe, I went to the supermarket last week, then that happened off stage. So we have, all of a sudden, we have new characters on stage. We've added 2 brand new characters from the 20th century by accident, on purpose, we don't know. But like I said, my biggest problem was the fact that it didn't follow a straight line. And now I've got to go hunt up book 5. I'm going to go get it, and we'll do it, watch for it in the next week or so to come up on the podcast or the video or whatever. But one of my other favorite things about these books is when you're watching a show, always gotta go off. Bing, bing, bing. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Well, come here. What? What's the matter? Bing. Oh, good. We only had a few bings. If you're watching a show and it's a 2-parter, to be continued, right? When you tune into the next episode, they go previously on. All of these books have had previously on. So, and before I forget, spoilers, 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 spoilers. Lots and lots of spoilers, because I'm a character spoiler. If I'm doing a murder mystery, I do not divulge who the murderer actually is. But in character developing series, yeah, total. So, previously on, let's see, what? The number of individuals now caught up in the quest to unravel the meaning of the scrap of human parchment known as the skin map has increased. Cassandra, the newest member of our intrepid group, is widely wrenched from her work as a job archaeologist and pitched headlong into a veritable maelstrom of new ideas, experiences, and alarming revelations when she inadvertently discovers lay travel. And we should do some more lay travel in Karen Marie Moning's books and in Kim Harrison's The Hollow books. The unpredictable interdimensional mode of transportation employing the regions of geometric force that encircle the planet and radiate through the cosmos, known for brevity's sake as ley lines. While a life of academia may have left her unprepared for the realities of multidimensional universe, she is nevertheless well placed to exploit the phenomenon. What are you doing? That is my furniture you're tearing apart. What? It was Cass who made contact with the clandestine organization known as the Zedek Society, thereby fast-tracking her education in all things related to the quest and its attendant possibilities and difficulties. Attentive readers will recall that the same society was mentioned quite early in the proceedings by Cosmo Livingston and Sir Henry as a group to which they belonged, and of which they esteemed and active members. The Zedek's headquarters in the timeless city of Damascus exist to provide support, information, and sustenance for the active questers and are currently led by Brendan Hanno and the redoubtable Miss Peelstick. They have taken Cass into the fold and put her to the task of finding out what happened to Cosmo and Sir Henry. whose fates are a mystery to them, if not to readers of previous volumes. They are sort of kind of deceased, maybe. Sir Henry Fifth, it should be noted, was a founding member of the Zedek Society, and lacking a direct heir of his own, he hoped one day to pass the baton of membership to his niece Haven. That same Lady Faith became entangled in a complicated relationship with the bad guy, Archibald Burley. We are happy to report, succeeded in making a clean break and is now freely pursuing her own interests. Something of an enigma before, she has forged a shaky friendship with Wilhelmina, one of our heroes. And the two have conspired to thwart Burley's plans on at least one occasion, and have thus far prevented Mina from falling into the hands of the man Haven calls the Black Earl. Unfortunately, the wicked Earl and his burly men are not only ones looking for their dire purposes. Others, such as Douglas Flinders Petrie, son of Charles and great-grandson of Arthur Henry Petrie, the possessor of the original skin match, which we all know by now by records, the coded destinations of various ley portals scattered throughout the multiverse, and which is thought to provide the location of the treasure everyone is seeking. Douglas has shown himself fully as ruthless as he is resourceful, and has listed the aid of a medieval scholar of great renown, Order Friar Roger Bacon. What are you looking at? I wish she would do all this cute stuff on camera, but no, she does it all behind the camera. So, as for our four old friends, Kit and Wilhelmina, it is pleasant to report that a glad reunion has taken place in the unusual, albeit strikingly beautiful setting of Abba de Santa Maria and Montserrat, high in the Spanish Pyrenees. Kit tells him about the bone house and stuff like that. So Kit longingly, for a while, we don't know what's going to happen in book 5, but he enjoyed his time in the Stone Age. He enjoyed being, he had spent a life as a lowly person, as I do, and he enjoyed being a superior in his knowledge in the Stone Age. He loved being a member of the group and really enjoyed those people immensely. He also discovered the Bone House and the Spirit Well. And when he travels the ley line, he accidentally goes over 1,000 years later, and his people are now deceased. And he doesn't believe it at first. When Mina and everybody else shows up, he wants to hang around for 24 hours. He wants to go look. They go look. The people are gone. So they decide to travel to Prague to meet up there, where Mina has her bakery. And all of a sudden, now remember in the last book, Cass had called her dad, and her dad is an astronomer, and he was very, very excited about the information she gave him, and he really believed her. He did not believe that she was spinning a yarn or telling a lie. He actually believed her that she went to an alternate plane of existence, and he was very excited about this information, and he comes out to Arizona, where she is, and pursues it, trying to look for his daughter and seek her out. He finally finds Friday, and Friday was the guy that showed Cass the original Ghost Bridge, or Ghost Road to Coyote Bridge, and he successfully takes the father across. They go back, but then the father gets stuck in the other time, and he does a few things himself. Now, I have, as you know, with these books, I love to share them with you. So let's see if they walked across a scrubby wasteland of sparse grass and a rocky soil of the kind that in Syria pass for lush pasture. The sky continued to grow brighter, spread red gold along the eastern horizon. Cass reminded herself by that time that she would be somewhere else and somewhen else. So tell me about London in the 17th century, she said. Your ultimate destination is London, Brendan said. From here, it is a three-jump journey, but if all goes according to plan, you should be able to make it in one day, relatively speaking. You will be moving backwards in time, aiming for the year 1665, although any time between 1663 and 1667 will be acceptable. That exact, really? If only that would be something. He glanced at her, enjoying her guileless reaction. The temptation to show off for you is almost irresistible, but no, I claim no such expertise. We can be reasonably certain in this case, because London at that time is the home of Sir Henry Freyth. Cosmos is a Londoner too, as it happens. As members of the society, Sir Henry and Cosmos traveled back and forth enough to society functions over the years to establish and document the way well. You simply follow in their footsteps. Almost literally, Cass remarked. The notes I gave you from the directions from Cosmo Livingston's place on file. They lead to Claremont House, Sir Henry's home in London. Follow them to the letter, and you shouldn't go too far astray. I would go with you, but society business keeps me here just now. He offered her a reassuring pat on the back. Don't worry, by the time this is over, you'll be giving lessons in lay travel. So that's him giving Cass lessons. Cass is still in Damascus in this book. She's currently in Damascus. And Brendan is telling her how to get to London through the ley lines. And so then she successfully does the jump, and she successfully gets to the house, and that's where Haven has returned with Giles, because Giles was injured in Kit's escape in the last book from Lord Burleigh. Perhaps you might explain your interest in contacting Sir Henry. Your uncle and Mr. Livingston were expected to attend a recent meeting of the Zedic Society. They failed to arrive, and apparently no one has had any communication from either one of them for some time. There is concern on the part of the members that something may have happened to them. Yes, I see. Lady Freya's expression grew sorrowful, and her voice took on a somber note. I would to heaven there were a better way to say this. It grieves me well to say that Sir Henry is dead and Cosmo with him. Both were struck down by vile enemies while on a journey to Egypt. So she fills her in on that. And then Haven tells her story. Cass said, Lady Freya, you mentioned the younger man, Cosmo's great living grandson Kit, but you've not said what happened to him. Perhaps Giles can tell me what became of them. Master Kit and I escaped to safety together. Is he with you now? Could I meet him? Again Giles glanced at Lady Frith, who nodded encouragingly. The servant's mouth twitched. The ones who killed Sir Henry and Cosmos found us again. They gave chase. Lord Burleigh was mounted in possession of a pistol. I came away wounded, but Master Kit made his good escape. In the confusion he was lost, Haven added, and no one knows where he has gone. At least his endeavors are not known to us at this time. And then she explains how she got. They're telling about Lord Burleigh. Your demeanor speaks for itself, Lady Fair said. Yet our present purpose, I would hear more about the society you have mentioned. But I will stand if it's all the same to you, but it is not the same to me, Haven encountered. If we are partners in this quest, we must not allow the difference in our station to impose unnecessary constraints. So that's her talking to Giles. As good a place to start as any, I suppose, Cass, and explained about meeting Miss Peelstick and Brendan in Damascus, the Zedic Society headquarters. with its she described as a library of sorts containing old books and obscure manuscripts the society deemed useful, even if it was apparently the case only vaguely understood. So she explains all that. So I was looking for. Okay, we'll just skip this. So she tells him about the society. Then there's an accidental meeting. Um, the MINA and Deanna and Kit return to Prague, and the situation is good in Prague for a couple days until they run into a situation. Then we catch up with Lord Burleigh. He wants to hire convicts to do some stuff for him, and we don't know because this book is not following a linear timeline, because it's the jumping back and forth. We do not know if he hired these men prior to this whole thing starting, because when the book starts, he has men working for him and obediently following him. So we don't know when or where these men are, or what. I mean, he's hiring them in like 1700s or something, but we don't know if he did this first or did this later. We don't know where this falls in the timeline, and that's my big confusion. Did he hire this man in book one, but we didn't see it till now? Because like I said, the book, it doesn't follow a straight line. Sometimes the person is here, then they go back here, then they jump here, then they go over there, then they go back there. And it's see, that's my problem. That's my biggest problem, is the linear timeline. So he's buying people, and then we get Kit wants to return to the boneyard, but it's not going to be there, or at least not yet anyway. So I want to see what this is about. They get to the coffee house. They finally make it back to Prague in the coffee house. So Mina opens the meeting, and so they all introduce themselves. Kit nodded, gave his full name and a brief to the point of brisk report of his experience of meeting his long-lost grandfather in London Alley, and how Cosmos introduced him to the lay travel and told him about the skim map and the race to find him. Lady Frey spoke next, offering a precise and forthright account of her tutelage under her uncle, Sir Henry Freyth. She was followed by Giles, who clearly uncomfortable, gave the barest explanation of his experience. Cassandra came next and told about her accidental introductions to the leyland while working the Arizona desert, getting lost, and potentially making contact with the Zedic Society. Mina said, I'm sure we all want to hear more about that, and we will come back to it shortly, but for now, let's move on. And they turned to Gino. His name is Gino Baccari, if you will. Let me say what an honor it is to be with you guys. I'm a priest of the Saint Benedictine and Saint Elmo, and later in Spain. Although a priest, my vocation has been that of an astronomer, thus in more ways than one, a man with his head in the stars. So they all introduce themselves and gives their background. And so they're just traveling around, and we discover that now we don't see this guy much, but way back here, he stole a book from a museum. Way. All of a sudden, Douglas shows up, and he does some evil stuff. So then we get a new guy come in, and he's in the 30s, and I'm not sure about that. It just comes out of left field. Lord Burleigh hires some more men, and Mina wants to, while they're in Prague, she wants to get the guy to make more of those ley line compasses for her. it turns out they need a specific metal. And when you find out they need a specific metal, then you go, oh, that's why Burley's doing what he's doing, because of the specific metal. Now, we don't know, like I said, we don't know if he's done this already or what has happened. We see, it's hard because all of a sudden he shows up back in Prague again. And I'm like, I thought he was on a boat to China, but he's in Prague now with those. See, it doesn't follow a straight timeline, and it's a little confusing. So, then we go back to Arthur's time, and we started a quest in one book. It's still going on here about the skin map, and the kid Benedict brought the map to his mom, and she says it's not right. It needs to be placed in the tomb in her father's grave. So that's how that happened. So this is happening after we know they found it in the grave, because the timeline is just, it's just, so this stuff here happened before the other books. This is the fourth book, but the stuff in here happened before. It's not a straight timeline. It's really confusing. So, and then the sailors get into a fight. Now, if they're, I don't know how they're in China and in Prague at the same time, but technically it's not the same time, because one is like 1600, and I don't know. I can't even explain it. But they're in Prague and China at the same time. So, you're gonna have to, I'm gonna leave it at this, I think. Although, the book ends kind of abruptly, and we get some interesting information, and there's a revelation at the end of this book that explains what happened. That there was an incident. They get into this really long explanation in the end of this book about time and the end of the world, and the world coming to an end and just not existing anymore. That the pebble has been thrown in the lake, and there's this ripple, and there is a ripple, like ripple effect kind of situation, and they discover Kit is the one who has seen an event happen that no one else is aware of. And he doesn't put the stuff together until the last chapter. And he brings it up and he tells them, and they're like, that's it. That needs to be changed for the world to continue. Someone must go back and figure out when that happened and undo it. Because then if that's undone, future events might be undone too. Although it's confusing, no, because that would have happened before that. It's, the timeline is just so screwy that, yeah, because if she, so get this, if she, I guess that's giving away too much of the story, but if she died before he was in after childbirth, and the father died when he was 6, and they took the skin map at he is 6, you'll have to read the books. So anyways, please hit the like and subscribe. Like I said, they don't follow too much of an order, and the timeline isn't straight, but I'm anxious to read book 5, and I'm anxious to find out if the author pulls one of those, once this one event is fixed, once this one event is undone, if it eliminates the entire rest of the series. If all these 4 books were for nothing, if the one event is changed and it never happened, and the rest of the makes the rest of the books irrelevant, or if the author makes it all worthwhile. We'll have to see, because I'm going to be disappointed if the author decides that once this one event is fixed, the rest of this hasn't happened. I'll be pissed off if that happens. So stay tuned and check it out. The what's the name of it here? The Fatal Tree is our next and final book. Are you ready? So please hit the like and subscribe. Thank you.